Now we're going to look at the life cycle in pictures of Marchantia, another bryophyte. But Marchantia isn't a moss. What is Marchantia? It is a liverwort. How many groups, major groups, are there within bryophytes? 3: mosses, liverworts, and hornworts. We're not going to learn a thing about hornworts, but Marchantia is a liverwort. We've done mosses. Now we're doing the liverwort Marchantia. Of course, a 10-point life cycle question on test number 4. There you go. Here's Marchantia growing. See, how big is this thing? Not very big, because what is it growing on? It happens to be growing on a, what's this? I see all these little cups here. What is this that it's growing on? It's growing on a lichen. What are these little cups? They are the cups on the surface of a lichen. What produces those? Yeah, the fungus. What kind of fungus are we talking about? What category of fungi? Ascomycete, forming these little cups. Anyway, Marchantia is a plant. A plant that forms kind of a little ribbon-like plant body called a thallus. I'm not going to ask you that, but the general term for an undifferentiated plant body like bryophytes have is a thallus. And so, Marchantia life cycle, this picture from your book. The prominent generation is, again, the what? The gametophyte. We were just looking at a gametophyte just a moment ago. That's the gametophyte generation. And first we're going to take a little look at the asexual reproduction of Marchantia. There's these little cups on the surface, little tiny cups. And inside the cups are little disc-shaped structures called gemmy. How do these function in asexual reproduction? Dropped water goes kabunk in the middle of that cup, and the gemmy splash out. Your book says up to a meter. I'm sure somebody was sitting there watching, had their little meter stick out. Anyway, they do bounce away, I'm sure. So here's some pictures I got off the internet. Now this is no gemmy cups in this picture. It's just the Marchantia plant body. But here we have some, and inside are these little gemmy. They're kind of pretty, these little cups are. And so water hits that, they splash out, and they divide by mitosis. Asexual reproduction. Here's a picture from your slide. What generation again are we talking about here? The gametophyte. So the chromosome number of all these cells is what? N. And these gemmy, they're called gemmy, G-E-M-M-A-E, that's plural. These gemmy are made of cells as well. And what's the chromosome number of all these cells? Every cell in this picture is haploid. Haploid. They go bouncing out, they decide, or splashing out, the gemmy go splashing out, then they land someplace and they start dividing by mitosis if it's a good place for them, and start producing more of this gametophyte generation asexually. But then we go on to sexual reproduction. That's this circle here. And so we have these structures. We have a female thallus or female gametophyte, male thallus or male gametophyte. Here's a structure that looks like a palm tree or something, or an umbrella that lost its fabric. But what are these things? It's called an archegoniophore. That's the name I would like you to know for this. Archegoniophore. Archegoniophore. What's for mean? Carry. It's carrying some archegonia. And so this represents an archegoniophore sticking up in the air. And this is the N side, this is 2N. What do we have here? We have some upside down archegonia. This isn't a very good picture of that over there. We'll get some better ones. Upside down archegonia, each one containing an egg. All right, that is the female structure on the female gametangium. The female gametangium is, again, these archegonia held up in the air by what's called an archegoniophore. On the male side, also kind of a parasol or a little bit of an umbrella-looking structure, and we're going to call it an antheridiophore. Antheridiophore, carrying a structure that carries antheridia. So here's what it sort of looks like. Each one of these little pouches is an antheridium containing sperms. So that's a pretty good picture of that. Let's look at some pictures, though, of each one. And so we have here archegoniophore, several archegoniophores, and here's a picture of an archegoniophore, And wow, it's a stalk. It's up in the air, not so pretty as the one as the picture. But anyway, hanging underneath it are upside down bottles. Each one of these is a what? Archegonium, or what's the generic term? Female Gametangium. What are these guys right here? They are egg cells. Yes, they are egg cells. There we have it up even closer and more personal. This is what generation, if I ask you that? Gametophyte. This entire structure here is called a what? An Archegonia 4. This is, what's the chromosome number of any of these cells? Any of these cells? Haploid. We're on the haploid generation, including haploid eggs inside these Archegonia. All right, I think you got that. Again, a quick look at the life cycle. This is what we looked at. Now let's look at the male structures. These are what? Antherydiophores. Very nice pictures. And you can see the Marchantia plant body down here. Very, very, very nice pictures. Very nice photographs. And here is a what? Again, this entire structure is a what? An Antherydiophore. And what are these? They are Antheridia. And what's developing inside these Antheridia? Sperm cells. That is absolutely correct. Here again, we see it up close and personal. A bunch of sperm cells developing inside Antheridia. All right, that showed us our Archegoniophores or Antheridophores, and of course the Antheridia will pop open. They will swim, 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 swim. Again, what's required? External water. They will swim up the upside down bottle. Fertilization will take place. We'll have a zygote and the development of a young sporophyte. And so here is a picture from your book of a mature sporophyte. What's it hanging from? It's hanging from the underside of the Archegonia 4. And what is this thing that it developed into? An Archegonium, which is quite stretched out now. An Archegonium. Everything in this picture here is which generation? Sporophyte. Sporophyte. And so this is kind of like mosses, except upside down. Instead of having a long stalk, it has a very short stalk. And so what do we have in here? It calls this thing a capsule. We're going to call it a what? A sporangium. A sporangium that is part of this sporophyte here. And it says spores. It can only be spores if what has taken place? That's right, meiosis. Let's look at some actual microscope slides. Here is the gametophyte generation. Here is the point of attachment of the sporophyte to the gametophyte. And you can see it's developed into what is now a very stretched out Archegonium, upside down Archegonium. Looks a little bit like an ice cream cone to me. And so this is the sporophyte generation from up here, where it's attached all the way down here. This entire sac here containing all these little guys, we're going to call it a what? A sporangium. What are all these little guys in here? Well, again, before, after meiosis. Before meiosis, they're called what? Sporocytes. After meiosis, there'd be what? Spores, except there'd be 4 times as many, right? Meiosis produces 4 daughter cells, and so we've been looking at this up here, the life cycle of Marchantia, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, in pictures, the life cycle of the bryophyte, specifically a liverwort called Marchantia. All right, bye-bye.